Let us talk about prevalence. Prevalence is actually number of existing cases in a defined population at a specified point in time. Now, what do you mean by existing cases? That means new cases as well as old cases. That means already having the disease, and it should be at a specific point in time. So P is equal to the number of people with disease at specified time, and it is divided by population at risk. Now we know what is population at risk, that is susceptible population in that particular time period, and it has to be multiplied by a factor of 10. So prevalence is equal to number of people with disease old plus new at that specific time into 10 factor divided by population at risk, right? So whenever your population at risk is very large and number of cases were small, you get p value or prevalence value like 0.001. So to make it a round number, you can multiply it by the 1000, 10,000, right, or 1 lakh, depending on what the value of p you get, right? And in some studies, the total population is used as an approximation if data population at risk is not available. So let us look at some MCQs based on this. So which of the following must be considered while measuring occurrence of a disease? Okay, so we are measuring occurrence of a disease. That means we are measuring prevalence of a disease, for example. So the number of people affected by disease, yes. Population size from which case of disease arise, that means population at risk, yes. And length of time the population is followed, yes. So all of the above criteria are considered while measuring occurrence of a disease. Which of the following is not required for calculating prevalence of a disease? So we require pre-existing cases of disease, yes. So old cases are required. New cases of disease, yes, they are also required. Total number of people at risk, that is population at risk, it is required, yes. But we do not require total person time of observation. So D is the answer here. In a rural block with 1 lakh population, 250 residents were identified with cardiovascular disease. So calculate the prevalence of cardiovascular disease per 1000 population. So answer is 2.5. Let us see how it has come. So we apply the prevalence formula. So number of existing disease plus new cases. So total round figure we have 250 people are there having cardiovascular disease out of 1 lakh. So 250 divided by 1 lakh into, we have to calculate per 1000 population, so into 1000. So it is 2.5 per 1000 population. So answer is C. In a study among 3,400 children aged 5 to 10 years, 16 were diagnosed with autistic disorder. Calculate the prevalence of autism per 1000 children. So again applying the formula, 16 into 1000 divided by 3400, that will give us 4.71. So answer is D. Among 25,000 population, 105 were identified with hepatitis B. So prevalence is 105 divided by 25,000 into 1000, so that is 4.2. so answer is B here. Now let us look at categories of prevalence. So prevalence are broadly classified into two different categories: point prevalence and period prevalence. Point prevalence measures the frequency of disease at a given point in time, like a snapshot, right? And it applies when the data has been collected at one point in time, and it is denoted by prevalence is equal to P and it is equal to C by N, while C is the number of total observed cases at the time and N is the population size at that particular time. So let us see some examples. For example, 150 children are screened for refractory errors and 15 are having it and they require glasses. So prevalence of refractory error is 15 divided by 150 and it is equal to 10. So it is always expressed as percentage. So here the point prevalence is 10%. The second category of prevalence is period prevalence. So what is period prevalence? It measures the frequency of disease over a period of time, right? So it applies when the data has been collected over a period of time. So C is equal to number of prevalent cases at beginning or at that point of time when you have started it And incidences during that period, any new case that come up, that also you have to include and divide it by the sample size, that is population at risk. So for example, 150 people are followed for 1 year and 25 had disease and another 15 developed new cases during that year. So point prevalence, if we count, it is C by N, so 25 by 150, and that will give us 0.17, so that is 17%. While if we count period prevalence, we have to also include 15 cases in numerator, so 25 plus 15 divided by 150, so that will give us 0.27 or 27%. So categories of prevalence. What is the appropriate epidemiological measure to determine the burden of a disease in terms of number of cases presented in a specific geographical area at specific point in time? So it is obviously point prevalence, right? Because we are determining the burden of disease. So prevalence has lots of synonyms like occurrence, burdens of a disease. So they are all synonyms for prevalence, and we are doing it at a specific point in time. So what are the factors influencing prevalence? So basically two factors which affect prevalence is basically number of new cases and duration of illness. So if disease is short, prevalence is reduced, and if disease is long, prevalence is increased. That is logical, right? Now let us list causes of increase in prevalence. So for example, duration. If duration is long somehow of any disease, now it could be because disease has a very low cure rate, or it is having low case fatality rate, and that will lead to increase in new cases also is a cause of increase in prevalence. Or you have immigration of patients, that is coming in of patients in particular geographic area. You have improved detection methods, that will also increase the number of cases. And going out of healthy people will also indirectly cause increase in the prevalence. Now let us look at causes of decrease in prevalence. So exactly opposite, shorter duration of any disease like high cure rate, high case fatality, or decrease in new cases. Going out of patient and coming in of healthy people, or improved cure rate will change the prevalence on a downside. Now conclusion is that prevalence changes may have many causes, and it is difficult to interpret it. So how can we use this prevalence data, or why we should find out the prevalence? For example, it will give us a burden of disease, so that we know that what are our healthcare needs. So to assess healthcare needs, to plan our health services, and it also measures occurrence of conditions with gradual onset, or it is helpful for studying chronic diseases, right? Let us look at some MCQs. Which of the following conditions tend to reduce the prevalence? So high cure rate will reduce the prevalence because it will cure the disease population. Low case fatality will increase prevalence. Improve case detection, increase prevalence. Immigration of diseased people, that is coming in of diseased people, so that will also increase the prevalence. Which of the following statement is true? High cure rate can increase the prevalence of disease. That is wrong, because high cure rate will cure the disease population, so it will decrease the prevalence. Low case fatality will increase the prevalence, so second statement is also wrong. Both A and B are true, because A and B both are wrong, so C option is also wrong. So high cure rate and high case fatality both can reduce the prevalence of disease. That is the correct statement. Prevalence of a disease will increase when we have a high cure rate. That is a wrong statement. Prevalence of a disease will decrease when we have low case fatality rate. That is also wrong statement. Prevalence of disease will increase when it has a low cure rate. That is a correct statement. And prevalence of disease will increase when it is acute in nature. No, that is not a correct statement. So answer is C. Which of the following will increase the prevalence? High cure rate, no. Low case fatality, no. Short duration, no. Immigration of patients. So immigration of patients will also decrease it. Short duration will also decrease it. Low case fatality, people are dying less, so there will be more number of people who are in that area. So option B is the correct answer here. Which of the following condition prevalence is an appropriate measure of disease frequency? Common cold episodes in elderly, number of asthma patients, foot ulcers in diabetes, and diarrhea episode. Now basically prevalence is for chronic diseases, right? It is for chronic disease, prevalence is an appropriate measure of disease frequency. So if you see common cold, asthma and diarrhea, these three are acute disease. The only chronic one which I can find out is option C, that is diabetes mellitus. So I think prevalence would be an appropriate measure for option C. Incidence data can be used to measure occurrence of disease with gradual onset, that is false. We use prevalence for gradual onset or chronic.